Hello, and welcome to this director's commentary for the film Cemetery Junction, with two directors. Usually it's just one person going on about what lens he used, but
Yeah, this will be two people talking about, well, we won't be talking about lenses, I
no,
suspect.
it's not our speciality, is it?
Lenses,
No.
I try to get interested about them. You know what I mean? I'm always slightly envious of people like Kubrick, who designed his own lens at one point, but I'm not even sure I know how a camera works.
We got someone to do that for us.
Exactly, this is why you hire an amazing DOP.
Yeah. Just showing how beautiful England can be. Very often these small towns are urban sprawls, but in beautiful, rich, rural countryside. And we're sort of showing the difference here between the classes, really. More defined back then, I suppose.
This is a direct homage, I suppose, and I'm using homage because I, of course, studied film.
Yeah.
Later I might be using mise en scène, Rick.
Yeah.
But homage, obviously, to Saturday Night, Sunday Morning, in terms of the,
Absolutely.
almost direct shot-for-shot kind of. Very proud of that. Not ashamed.
The worst schools in the south of England.
Mr. Kendrick will see you now.
They expect you to leave at 14 with no qualifications.
I'm thinking that homage starts with hom.
Right. What's your point?
You know, like, oh, you hom.
Oh, I see. Okay. We're trying to be serious filmmakers, aren't we? What happened? I'm sure that was the promise when we sat down. Let's be serious filmmakers. People want to find out about the intricacies of Ralph Fiennes' tie. You know, why did we settle on that tie, Rick?
Anything to add, Mike? Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You want the stench of death.
Everything in that film, none of it's there by accident. I think that's
What's my life going to be like when
the main thing about being a director. It's just being able to answer 1,000 questions per day confidently. Red or black? Black.
Yeah.
Do you want it up, down? Do you want it left, bit more to the left? You just have to... There's nothing too small to care about because you're there anyway. So it's as easy to get it right as wrong. If you see something, it's as easy to... And right only means right to you. It's what your decision is. That is the beauty of being a director. This should be your vision.
But yeah, there's nothing in that sequence there that's not been carefully thought through. Obviously, one of the most fun things actually was deciding on the environments that all the characters inhabit. That's always fun. Like, so Ralph Fiennes' office, we were very keen that he had that rich wood panelling. We wanted the light to be coming through the window, like just to suggest a kind of a wealth and an opulence.
Yeah. Well, also everything in the 70s aimed at a person like Ralph Fiennes, a self-made man that maybe moved from upper working class to middle class to being one of the richest people in a small town. It was all about aspiration. We looked at old front covers of, Sunday supplements, and they were all that deep oak browns with a man sitting there with, a hairy chest and a smoking jacket or
Yeah.
something, and a Labrador smoking a pipe.
And the adverts in those magazines are always, for, hostess trolleys.
Yeah.
And things that, the imagined person who's reading and buying it is they're endlessly having sophisticated dinner parties.
Well, of course.
They're discussing
Yeah.
the government
Yeah.
and politics.
For
There's
only, for only 4 shillings, you can act like the Queen. The
exactly.
Queen's got one of these trolleys, honestly.
yeah. So, and obviously, a lot of the kind of the browns and the oranges, all very deliberate in all of these sequences.
I know you do notice that about the 70s. Obviously, the colour palette changes slightly through fashion. The things that never change are obviously, nature, people and nature, really.
But one of the things we didn't want to get hung up with was everything being terribly 1970s. I mean, obviously everything is detailed and correct for the period, but it's not weighed down.
Well,
with
no, you see
1970s
some
imagery.
things where they're saying it's 1973, and everything in that shot was bought in 1973 and
Yes.
carefully placed there, and that's not the case. Particularly in a smaller town in 1973, it actually looked more like the end of the 60s, and that had a backdrop to the older generation of the 50s, and that was against a backdrop in terms of attitude of Victorian times. It was only a generation after the Second World War, really, and so it wasn't. If you walked around a small town outside London in 1973, they didn't all dress like David Bowie. You were very brave to walk down a high street in Reading dressed like David Bowie.
Did you ever do that?
I didn't know. In 1973, I was only 12. Let's not forget that.
Sure. I always think of you, sorry, as much older.
Yeah.
I always think you probably... You didn't fight in the war, but you certainly remember rationing. I always presume that to be the case.
Well, rationing is one thing I've never imposed on myself.
No, indeed, we can tell that. Obviously, we tried to make the three leads there, as you can see, very as iconic as we could. We talked often about them. Imagine if they were action figures. So
that's right.
Tom is always in a very James Deany kind of outfit. Either he's got the leather jacket or the red jacket there. And Snork got his very deliberate uniform. Occasionally changes his shirt and his jeans, but essentially he looks the same with the hat. And Freddie just a sort of softer, gentler boy next door kind of quality. One of the things we talked about is we didn't feel like everyone needs to be endlessly changing their costumes in every scene.
No.
Because you want these images to sort of, I don't know, burn themselves into
Absolutely.
into yourself as you're watching them.
Yeah, but that was one of the things that we said to, costume and that imagine if you had one shot at these characters with an action figure, what would be a definitive outfit? And you just do that a couple of times and you're there really. And there's always a hope that you can do something that's iconic. Steve Spears, I think he's got quite an iconic look.
He's got an extraordinary look. Steve Spears is the policeman there, for those that don't know. And we worked with him in extras, and he was someone that immediately impressed us. He's got an acting style which is totally in tune with the way we like to work.
Absolutely.
He's completely relaxed with the lines, playing with the lines.
But we wanted to give all those people another go, really. All those people, we sort of had those lovely little spots in the office and extras, like Matt Holness, who turned up as Simon, the IT guy in the office. We've got him in it. Steve Spears, the dullard in extras. David Earl, the obsessed fan in extras. And we thought, oh, look, we should use all these again. And it's so much fun, just so much fun having a little unofficial ensemble.
Well, yeah, we should probably talk about the fact that obviously we were keen to find new talent for these three main leads as well. But before we do that, this was a sequence that I was excited about the whole time that we were planning the film, Rick, because it was the first time we did something that I think we were transparently being a little bit more rock and roll than we'd done before. We had the Elton John song in mind for ages. I think you have to sort of
I asked Elton John if I could use Saturday Night's Right of Fighting 2 years before we started writing this film, because I just always thought it was just such a great way to start a film. That the lyric was great, and it's such a lovely document. Yeah, the lyric
of its time,
and also Saturday night. When I grow up, I remember it all being about Saturday nights. You know, you'd worked hard all week, and then that was your time, and it's such a blue collar thing, Saturday night.
But also that living for the weekend has never really changed.
It's never really gone away. But of course now people go out weekdays as well, and you know, as disposable income changes and moves around.
Oh, me, Rick, you know me, what I'm like going in the middle of the week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Sometimes I have a pint on a Wednesday.
Well, not anymore. You don't.
Not normally now.
No, but you
used to. I can't handle it. But back in the day. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh. And we were trying to create that feeling that it's these three guys against the world, that you know, one day their feathers will fall out, but not this summer. So it was a sort of a celebration of that, I don't know, not youth as much, because it's not coming of age in a traditional sense. It's not like 15, 16-year-olds. It's later than that. It's those people that should have grown up by now, but don't want to, and I think that's to be celebrated as well in a way.
But also, we didn't want the world that they inhabit to be terribly grotty and gloomy and overcast. You know, they live in a town that's perfectly nice. It's just that when you're 21, you know, even a perfectly pleasant place you'd be happy to retire to is not somewhere you want to be. No, it's a shackle. It's a prison.
You could live in an idyllic village, but when you hit 18, 19, 20, you start thinking, is there something over the wall, really?
I remember doing interviews for something once with heroin users, kind of adolescent heroin users, and a lot of the worst heroin abuse was in places, kind of quite idyllic Cornish villages where there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And people drift into that stuff.
Grow the poppies there, can't you, as well, because there's a lot of sunshine in Cornwall.
Exactly.
Little tip there.
A little tip for any,
Little tip there,
any
kids.
Cornish smackheads listening. Because they are big DVD commentary fans, Rick. You should know that. Is this a fairly accurate portrait of your home life growing up?
That's
would you
my
say?
nan, basically. And then my mum became my nan. And I'm sort of my dad and his mates and, you know, the men folk. You know, I quite like the idea that it's a man's world, but what the men don't realise is that women are actually running it. They're running it behind their back.
Well, certainly in this sort of working class environment, that's true. But obviously, in a weird way, that's contrasted later with the sort of more successful upper middle class family, where it's a lot more Victorian and
Oppression.
and constrained. Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. And that's because they had to fit into very strict guidelines of, it was more about perception, you know.
Ricky here, of course, in his role as the father, still find it difficult to accept that that man is your son. But there we are.
No, as I've said before, I was young and thin once, okay? So Christian Cook has got that in the post. And I think deep down he knows it.
Sure.
I went for a, you know, you usually sort of see me with sort of just like slick back hair, unshaved, black t-shirt,
Yeah.
white t-shirt, completely different character.
Completely different person.
Yeah,
And as ever, Ricky sat down in all of his scenes.
yeah. Well, no, I'm lying down in one.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
And again, you know, just seeking out brilliant character actors like Anne Reid, who we've never worked with before, but, you know, just, I mean, there's no one else for the role, really. She's perfect.
This is amazing.
Absolutely nails it.
Absolutely brilliant. Julia Davis there in the background.
Another brilliant character actress.
Len, that's enough.
And we were watching a lot of those sort of 50s domestic melodramas, or looking at clips of them, you know. Even the scenes in, say, Rebel Without a Cause, when you see the domestic shots, they're shot in that widescreen.
They're epic.
They managed to make the domestic
Exactly.
look a bit more epic.
But
than it
that's what
normally
we've
is.
always tried to do as well, make the ordinary extraordinary.
Right.
You know, the minutiae of human behaviour is so much more exciting to me than a cast of a million glorgongs who come from planet Wank.
Exactly.
You know, that's fun and everything, but there's nothing as exciting as real life if you get into the nitty gritty.
This was actually a little montage sequence that originally had music, and then Ricky and I, when we were doing the sound mix, we tried it without the music, and it just seemed much more
Oppressive.
yeah, exactly. That sort of the idea of the contrasting working lives.
Yeah.
Again, just two wonderful kind of character actors. You know, these people, you don't necessarily recognise them. They've probably done lots of TV and theatre work and other movies, but they come in and you know, we tend to see an awful lot of people when we're casting. We bring lots and lots of people in. We're always looking for someone that's just definitive. They just sell the idea we had in our heads when we were writing.
Absolutely.
Perfectly.
And that's all it is. When you're trying to do, and when you're trying to be, you know, I suppose a perfectionist, it's nothing other than trying to achieve what's in your head. That's all we're trying to do, really. And sometimes that can go out the window and change. And you know, we had very fixed ideas when we were looking for Gareth, but then Mackenzie walked through, which was different to what we had in our mind. So, you know, you can be flexible, but we try and at least nail it in our heads.
Matthew Goode, I think, does tremendous work in this as the character of Mike.
It's just a great villain because he's not completely cool and evil. There's a bit of the putz about him as well. You know, it's like he wants to be one of the lads, but he's not quite.
And this was his first day of filming, and he came in, and this is a long speech that he did all in one take, and nailed it.
Yeah, he was great. It's also nice as Ray finds his sort of underling in this, because in a way you think that he's got a bigger killer instinct than Mr. Kendrick. Like one day he'll be bigger and better than Mr. Kendrick and crueler.
He's the guy that would end up firing Mr. Kendrick when he gets higher above him.
Yeah, he's got a touch of the new ambition. He's got a touch of the Gordon Gekko.
Yeah,
like
there's a sense
he's
that
going to
by
rule
the
the 80s. Exactly,
absolutely,
yeah.
by the 80s he'll be a kingpin.
Full of life. and their husbands died.
But these sort of moments are always very exciting as directors, because I think Ricky and I would both be in agreement that we probably wouldn't be able to remember a speech like this.
No.
Maybe in the old days you would, but now you would...
No, but as a writer, Steve, if I can't remember a speech, I go, you know what, let me change that.
Let me have fewer words.
Yeah, I must be the only actor who cuts lines when I'm in a film or a TV series.
Not always beforehand, though. Often
No,
during the
during,
scene,
yeah. But then people think, wow, he's got integrity. God, he's generous with it. He doesn't even want them. Wow, he must be right.
Yeah.
No, just can't be bothered.
Can't be bothered to learn
Next. Let them say it. But it doesn't make sense, Rick, if they say it. Let them say it.
Although, apparently, Steve McQueen, when he was making Bullet, he had the good forward thinking to know that he was always going to be cooler when he said less, you know.
Yeah.
So, for instance, in the film originally, you'd have lots of sort of exposition as the policeman. Well, what about this? Da, da, da.
Yeah.
You realise if he gave it to his sidekick in the film, it would just mean that he could listen, looking enigmatic and cool. Is that part of your approach?
Yeah, well, also, when in The Great Escape, he cut the line when he was on the motorbike, he was going, wee!
Right.
And they cut that. And when he was bouncing the baseball, he was going, padoing, padoing,
Sure.
padoing. And he went, no, I'm going to cut that.
Sure,
And
less cool.
Yeah. And it made it better.
That's
didn't
one
it?
of the great things about McQueen.
Yeah. But thank you for, putting me in the same category as McQueen. I think you said I'm better than McQueen. Yeah. I'm not reading between the lines. I'm reading
Sure, no, always.
there at Bloomsbury. That's near my other property in
A lot
London.
of the locations are very near Ricky's house.
Yeah, Hampstead and Bloomsbury.
Sure, we'll talk about the three main guys, as I promised, at some point. But Felicity is one of a number of sort of younger actresses that we saw. And what we liked about her was the fact that she's got something very slightly old-fashioned about her. She put us in mind of those actresses that you find in 60s New Wave films like Julie Christie or Rita Tushingham, the sort of modern woman, but she's modern for that period. She's not modern in the way that a lot of the actresses we saw now, you get the sense that they could be working in a media haunt in Soho.
Yeah.
And, hanging out with Lily Allen, and that's not quite the flavour we wanted. We wanted someone that's just got something a little bit more classic about her. That she's kind of intelligent, but there's a naivety as well, which is quite a tricky thing to
Well, I
find
remember
in
one
an
of the
actress.
notes we kept giving her, probably our mutually favourite film is The Apartment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we did keep saying more Shirley MacLaine, which is not a great note for an actor.
well, not one that was born
Exactly, in the 80s, yeah. More Shirley MacLaine. Who? Watch it.
I didn't know you were...
had to show that he's a cad here. We had to show as quickly and concisely as we could that she was with the wrong man. But we didn't want that just him to be a moustache twirling villain. We don't want to be just well, of course she should go with Freddie, because I mean that's just a little bit disappointing if you're just waiting for the inevitable to happen. Here we try to show that if Freddie's household is at least family orientated, with all the bickering, it's more of a home, whereas this is, I don't know, more of a squat. It's lost the woman's touch. It's lost its family values. It's a cold, sad place.
This is our more obvious concession to the kind of bleaker British movies that you sometimes see. We wanted this to have a little bit more of that feel. So the colours are a lot more muted and cold.
Yeah.
I think even as you say in the script, it was described as a house that has not had a woman's touch for
That's
a long
right.
time.
Yeah.
How's your mum and dad? Still together?
Yeah, good, thanks.
And it is a man's world here, but of course the son is taking away his manhood, undermining him, being disappointed with him.
It's me old back, like, you know.
He didn't act like a man. He should have acted like John Wayne, and he didn't. What he did was something a lot more honourable as a man, and that was care about his son, really. But that's not appreciated yet by Bruce.
Another great actor with an amazing face.
Amazing.
Looks a bit like Robert Mitchum, I always think.
He does look like Mitchum, and he does look like he could be Bruce's dad as well. Wow. Here we go.
So this is a comedian and actor called David Earl, who originally just sent in a tape to our agent of something that he'd made himself, which we thought was inspired and very funny. And when we had the opportunity to work with him, we used him in extras, and he was great. And we've always followed what he's been doing, and he's very good at sort of coming up with these eccentric characters. Often he just does stuff which he sticks on YouTube. And this is a character that he did and he performs, and we said, would you be happy for us to, to include you in the film?
He's great. I could just watch him all day.
No way I can do better than that.
But again, we wanted to sort of populate the smaller roles with the eccentrics that I remember certainly from growing up.
Yeah.
It always seemed like the guy running the fish and chip shop or the paper shop, they were kind of oddballs with their own little lives, and you only saw them occasionally, but I often wondered, what goes on in.
But they got
behind
under your
closed
skin,
doors.
and they were talked about, and everyone knew them.
Exactly.
Yeah, they were famous in their own town.
Right.
Is there anything that's going? I wouldn't pay.
I think that's one of the things, obviously, that the British do so well is produce top drawer eccentrics. And
Oh, absolutely. Through every class.
absolutely, yes.
Just told him that you fancied him.
And Bryony, again, just an actress that was brought in. Our casting people did an amazing job, and she impresses again, just because she's got that innocence. Again, she feels like someone who could have stepped out of the 1970s.
But they're also all great actors.
Absolutely.
See you, Snorky. A bit of pork and stalk.
Louise, ignore them, okay? They're more...
Even Charlie Willis.
The idea of the sort of train station as this location that's so near to their homes, and at any point they could get on a train and ride out of the
Exactly.
place, and it never occurs to them.
It's
to
sort
do
of
it.
symbolic. I mean, the name Cemetery Junction as well, a place where you might end up forever, or you stand at a crossroads, and we wanted to create our own little fictional world, our own little town like Springfield or the town in Back to the Future. So we took a few liberties. I mean, it is a real area, but we just purely took it for the name, really. Whitley, that's where I was born
where you
and
grew
grew up.
And all these opening sequences with the lads really is just to try and suggest the idleness of their lives. That, as Ricky says, it's a summer and they're having fun, but it's sort of going nowhere. And actually, if they don't watch it, they will wake up at 65 and they'll have had kids and a job which they perhaps didn't necessarily want.
And, this is where our hero starts thinking, there must be more to life. What is the point of that? He can't even laugh at it anymore because he's worrying it's systematically eroding his life and his dreams. Although...
It's also an excuse for a big picture of a knob.
Yeah. Yeah.
This, of course, Rick, lest we forget, is shot on the back lot at Shepperton Studios, where if just beyond those trees is the set for Ridley Scott's Robin Hood.
Yes, exactly.
Which is a somewhat more epic set.
We went along to see it. It was pretty
they have
incredible.
a full
and let's
castle.
not forget, that's a public footpath, and at one point there were people coming along with their children looking up at that sign.
Right.
I was hiding.
Budget didn't run to us having some cordoned off private area. We had to have a public footpath.
Yeah, that was up there for I think 2 days. It had it was covered up at night, I believe.
Is that funny?
Our villain, our policeman, who's sort of not quite right, who I knew a kid when I was growing up, when I was about 14, 15. He wanted to join the police force so he could have fights Saturdays down Reading Football Club. You're allowed to actually have fights.
Yeah.
I think he was joining the police for the wrong reasons.
I think possibly. I like the idea as well that maybe he's just a few years older than them. They maybe even knew him when they were young in school. He was
Exactly.
He was a little bit of a bully at school.
He was a bully at school, yeah.
Now he's joined the force, as you say, so he can slap people about.
I'd just like to say that is rare in the police force. Most policemen join for the correct reasons. They want to
bribes?
They want to uphold the law.
Oh, I see.
Let's
Right.
not forget that. I'd just like to...
People have asked us quite a lot about whether we've had, any direct experience of that, being rebels at school. I point out that I was not as rebellious As you might think, I, of course, for a period of time, voluntarily chose to wear a bow tie to school.
Yeah.
Not something you'll see in Rebel Without a Cause.
No, and
or
also
The Wild
whenever
One.
you tried to play chicken, your glasses would fly off if the car went above 28 miles an hour.
Exactly,
So you just
exactly.
had to stop immediately.
Yeah, it's already winding me up.
And we were very, very lucky with the weather. We've always thought, why are British films so sort of drab and depressing? Well, it's because, you know, you have your filming schedule laid out months before, and if it rains on the 6 days you're outside, then that's tough luck. And we were very, very lucky.
There's a reason that Hollywood is in a desert in California.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the best thing to do is if you want to shoot a British film and you want it to be a glorious, you know, long hot summer, shoot it in South Africa. Do you know, really?
Yeah.
It's like we took a risk and it paid off. Obviously, this is fake sunlight. That's in a studio.
That's Raimi, our DOP, doing a great job as well of managing to give that kind of hazy summer feel to as much of the film as possible. And
That's Loughborough, the only complete station that would pass for the 70s in Britain. That's Hampstead. That's just near my house.
just near your house, yep.
Yeah, it was a good day.
So we should talk a bit about our younger cast as well, Rick, because obviously it was a big weight on their shoulders really to sort of carry the film, and we did talk about the idea of using star names. We weren't against the idea of it, but we always felt that you'd need 3.
You would.
And otherwise it becomes very unbalanced if you've
Well,
got
yeah,
a leading
yeah.
guy playing Freddie and the other two. They're inevitably going to drift into the background, and we wanted this to feel a little bit more like a genuine group of friends. And so, you know, in America it probably would have been easier to cast. You'd have your Jonah Hill and,
Yeah.
you know, and there seems to be a much bigger pool of well-known 20-something actors. But over here in the UK, it's, you know, there's only a few names.
And of course they had to hold their own up against people like Emily Watson, you know, an Oscar-nominated actress who I think played it perfectly. I think this character is the heart of the film, to be honest. It's sort of what it's about in many ways.
Yeah.
You know, no one saved her, but he's going to try and save Julie.
But I found interesting because although we have worked with star names before, we did it in extras where obviously they were almost, for the actors, it was like for the stars at least, it was almost like a day off. Whereas here, you know, Rafe and Emily are doing a film and it's what they do. This is their actual proper day job.
Yeah.
And just to see how those people work.
This took a few takes because what we wanted was to Rafe to creep up and be a little bit, make Freddie feel uncomfortable, and he just had to say art. And I tell you, every time he said it, well, I laughed. Christian laughed a few times.
Well, he did it in various ways. So either the pause before he said it would be increasingly long, or sometimes he might just whisper it. Art.
That's the worst thing for me, though. It's the pause.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be funny, so now they're okay. Cut. I can't wait for them to say the line.
It's not unheard of as well, Rick, for you to laugh yourself even when you're not in the scene.
Oh, very often.
Off camera, thus ruining the take.
If something's funny, I'll laugh.
Sure.
Even if I've written it and heard it 58 times.
An absolute pro.
Oh.
And again, this was a scene in which I think Tom here excels himself. You know, I mean, it's difficult for any actor when you're confronted with the intricacies of filmmaking. You know, you've got to do the same scene from multiple angles. One thing Ricky's very good at, and something he sort of learned quite quickly just from being in the office, was to try and give as much time and as freedom to the actors as possible, so that they don't feel. I mean, I've done stuff in the past as a performer where you get maybe 2 or 3 takes and then they've got to move on, and you don't feel you've nailed it.
We saw Tom get better and better every day over the 6-week period, fresh out of drama school.
I know, extraordinary.
And he was so gracious as well, wasn't he? He had no ego at all.
I think that's true of all of the young cast, actually. I mean, they all approach things slightly differently.
But I mean, in total juxtaposition to his character, this brash, swagger, cool. I mean, you know, I saw him in an interview. So he said, "Were you cool growing up?" He said, "No." He said, "I was cool from about 2008."
Right.
He can pinpoint when he decided to be cool.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I made a decision similarly around the same time.
yeah.
I know you stop yourself from smacking him, Mart.
But we also want him to do it with a smile. We didn't want it to be just angry and bitter. We wanted to do it with a lot of charisma and panache,
Yeah.
almost like he was doing it to wind people up as opposed to being genuinely angry. Although now we see the scene why he sort of acts like this. It's a well-trodden path. I mean, a lot of the dramatic themes we use have been done before, but I don't think we should apologise for that.
Well, I don't think that makes them any less legitimate.
No.
I mean, the thing is that there's thousands and thousands of sort of angry young people, often with similar backstories. But for them, it's unique. It's a
Of
unique
course.
experience. To them, it's the biggest thing in the world.
But,
And
even though you may do things that have been done before, you put your twist on it, and they are pretty much universal themes.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why most stories are about boy meets girl, or kicking against the system, or having a decent job of work, or it's because
of course, it's because that's the thing that impacts on most people most of the time.
yeah, everywhere. Exactly.
Always. Yeah, exactly. I mean, people have issues with their parents. If you're very lucky to come from a comfortable family, then there's normally other pressures you have elsewhere. I'd never be ashamed of. I could happily rewrite this story again and again and again till I'm blue in the face.
Well, let's do it then, because
Okay.
it's already done.
Exactly.
What, just change the names?
Just change the names
Fine.
and set it next time in Sweden.
yeah.
Good-looking people in Sweden.
Cold though.
It is. That's the downside.
Though I film it in Hampstead, to be honest. You can get fake snow these days.
So I think Tom does a great job in this sequence. I was very impressed. This was
Yeah.
this angle that we're seeing here. We did sort of one of the last things he did. I think he'd really warmed up in the scene then, and he just said, "Can I go a couple more times?" And
Absolutely.
he really pulled it out of the bag.
Nice shot there of Freddie in a different world, sort of slightly intimidating. His first sort of look at the other side, really.
At first, he's impressed. This is the sort of home that he's working towards.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, it starts, for him at least, to sort of seem much more oppressive, much more constraining. We wanted the house itself to sort of feel quite cold and slightly gothic and grand, but for Julie's room to be a bit warmer and brighter, like she's made a little oasis.
And the big thing here with the love story is that they save each other in different ways. She sort of opens his mind to there's a bigger world out there. You can do what you want. You can sort of follow your dreams. Although the irony is that there's a conspiracy behind her back that she will never be allowed to do it herself, and he sees that, and so they save each other.
I think we've got to remember as well that it seems nowadays much easier, the idea of travel. Use EasyJet flights and stuff. You can, and other airlines are available, Rick.
Yeah.
But
Certainly to me.
Yeah, sure. Imagine you flying on one of those planes. Because if it's £1 a ticket, presumably you could afford to just buy all the seats, and it would become a private jet.
That's a very
I've never
good
thought
point.
of that before.
That's a very good point. That will still be a lot cheaper
Than a private jet.
jet.
Yeah. We're thinking about.
Yeah, I don't know if they are £1 a ticket these days.
Well, they're fairly cheap, I think.
I think, yeah, isn't it like 15 quid, but you buy your own sandwich?
Yeah. Know what I do?
What?
Take me own. Take me own sandwiches.
Yeah.
Get your mum to make them.
Yeah, how many seats are on there? That's great. Just buy
Good,
them all.
good idea, isn't it?
It is a good idea.
Anywho, the point I was making, Rick, was that in these days, the idea of travelling abroad, particularly the idea of sort of, like nowadays, the idea of after university you travel around the world, that was a crazy idea. That was something that the Beatles did.
Yeah.
So the idea of sort of foreign travel and, that's something that...
It just started coming in now that you could pop to Spain.
Right.
That was basically Britain in the sun.
Yes.
It was, you can still get, your fry up and your what in his red barrel, and just surrounded by other Brits.
Yeah.
So it was like Bognor.
The dream was that you would not know you were in Spain.
Yes,
Yeah, you would never have to
exactly,
encounter a Spanish person.
Exactly. It's just like, yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Margate was just really hot.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly it's 90 degrees.
Freddie, we were 12. You have to move on.
What are you doing in my fiancée's bedroom?
Nothing, I swear to
One of the things we
Still my bed.
have done really since The Office is try to
Calm down, mate. I'm only kidding.
I mean, maybe this is a criticism that people level at us, but that we're not sort of showy as directors. We don't chase, sweeping camera angles and stuff, because in a way I think the reason we love people like Billy Wilder is that although they're very confident filmmakers, they're not someone who endlessly tries to remind you that they're behind the camera calling the shots. They're very, what's the word, kind of transparent.
I also think that we don't get credit for what to me is the most important aspect of directing, and that is getting a performance, a realistic performance out of the actors, and worry about every nuance, every line, every breath, okay? And it's like when we did the junkets for this, and they go, so, first-time directors? I go, do you know what? Not really. We did every episode of The Office, every episode of Extras, but it seems that doesn't count because it's TV. Because usually, TV isn't a director's medium, it's a producer's medium, but we made it a director's medium. We made sure that we made every decision when we did The Office and Extras, and we also treated it slightly more filmically than the average sitcom. And so we were working up to this point all our career, really. It didn't even feel like they're saying you leaping to film direction. It wasn't really a leap.
But people like Wilder, a lot of those classic filmmakers, they, the idea that you would stick a camera behind a fireplace because it's an interesting, moody shot would be anathema to them. They'd be like, why would I put the camera there? That's not how anyone would ever watch or witness this scene in real life.
No.
They don't want to keep drawing attention, and it seems increasingly filmmaking is about how showy you can be.
Yeah.
And I find sometimes at the expense of the story, because I'm so aware of the tricks of the trade that I'm not really believing these are real people in the real universe.
No, but you can't win. For everyone who thinks, it looks fantastic and it's wonderful, there's people that go, they left behind the realism of The Office. Yeah, we did that in The Office. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Quite.
It's like, but you must never worry about what anyone says. We do this for ourselves and therefore like-minded people. But if you start second-guessing or worry about what anyone's going to think about it, you'll do something that's been done 1,000 times before.
It's back when. It's awful. But anyway, that could be me one day, so...
Sorry, Rick, I was just thinking about how you said you didn't get credit enough for working with actors. Well done, mate. All right, giving you some credit right now. The soundtrack, of course, is something we should talk about here. We were very lucky to get pretty much all the songs we wanted.
We've got to mention Charlie Hanson, the producer.
Oh yes, of course, I forgot about that. Sorry, yes, the guy on the platform with the bowler hat is one of our producers, Charlie Hanson.
We've always wanted to get him in a little cameo. We wanted him to be the bloke in the Extras Christmas special who's just out in the heath. A bunny goes, keep walking, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So we got him in. We got him in this instead.
This one.
Yeah, the soundtrack, very exciting. One of the perks of being in charge, Steve, with a big budget, particularly the Rain song by Led Zeppelin in its entirety.
We shall come to that, but here, obviously, the Osmonds.
Crazy Horses, don't knock it.
No, absolutely.
I mean, this wasn't put in ironically at all. It's a great track of the day.
Oh, we almost missed it there. Sorry, that was Carl Pilkington and my father in a shot together. There's a couple of patrons of this event.
Nice to meet you.
Just put in because the way they look.
Yep. And Carl, I think you just gave him a ring, didn't you, just an hour or so before we did that?
Yeah, I said, do you want to pop up in the film? I think he said something like, well, I popped him in the last one and you cut me from it. And he said, what's for lunch? I said, pork chops. He said, I'll be there in 20 minutes. He came down. I said to the makeup person, I said, make him look more ridiculous than you've ever made anyone else look, okay? And they put this weird sort of semi-afro and a big handlebar moustache on him. But Carl liked it because it sort of disguised him a bit. He felt comfortable, and that annoyed me. So just before the scene, just about to shout action, the makeup person whipped his wig off, and I started screaming with laughter. Everyone was looking. Carl was trying to grab the wig back.
Yeah.
He looked like a frightened bird that was about to fall out the nest. And it was my best day ever.
I know. Whereas some of these were my best day ever when we were working with these two brilliant Oscar-nominated actors. I really enjoyed that.
I remember I did the same to Ray Fiennes. Just whipped his wig off just before the scene and started laughing at him.
Yeah, you're making him wear a giant curly afro.
Yeah.
Again, this is I think this is a sort of tour de force from
This
Rafe,
was his
really.
first day. He came in, he did this speech from beginning to end perfectly.
Word perfect, nailed every nuance, and we didn't really have anything to say. We had nothing to offer. We couldn't offer any criticism.
No.
We just said, could you do it again?
And we were worried that he'd think that we didn't care because we didn't say
Yeah.
do it again. It's just that he did it exactly as we wanted.
Absolutely.
Name on there. A big hand, please, for
Interesting
Gordon
spelling of the word Frederick.
Let's not embarrass anyone.
and Freddie.
They missed out on E.
Yeah.
We went with it.
Probably the kind of Swedish or European spelling.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not inconceivable that his parents, played by you and Julia, might not know how to spell Frederick.
Well, the story goes that my middle name, which is Dean, is D-E-N-E. And I found out that's not the normal spelling. And I said, why was it spelled like that? And my mum said, we sent your dad to get it. He was pissed.
Wow. He just guessed at the spelling. That's amazing.
Oh, dear.
42 years, can you believe it?
43 years.
Rafe does tremendous work here. I think this is
Lovely.
very funny. It's very underplayed.
Yeah.
Just some of the little elements.
Passive
he
aggressive
throws
as well
in.
to a man he's sending off
Yeah.
to be forgotten, basically. And this was to try and sink in to sort of Freddie that, you know, this wasn't a wonderful life. There's nothing wrong with it, but this is all he got at the end of the day. And they really don't care about him. And it's funny, but it is sad as well. I'm genuinely moved by this guy's performance.
Yeah. There's a lovely moment where Rafe just adds a sniff at the
Yeah.
end of
Dismissive.
a dismissive sniff, which was Rafe's little addition, and it really just sells that moment. I think it's coming up in a second.
So lucky for you, she had to get you the one that was a lot more expensive.
But yeah, he's very good, that actor, at just conveying that I don't know, 65 years of a ghostly existence down in the basement, and
The sniff was actually when he says, so, quite a life.
quite alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And that's it. And they'll say pop back in again so you don't forget us, and then he will pop in occasionally and people will have forgotten him.
Yeah.
And they'll make some stilted conversation and then he'll go and
And I love the woman just touching his hair. We got her to do that just because it showed she is the only person in the world that cares about that man.
Yeah.
And that's both very, very sweet, but also tragic as well.
And of course these sort of functions in 1973 were a real treat for the people who worked in these sort of organisations.
Oh, absolutely.
You didn't eat out in restaurants.
There was no kitsch value or irony to that band.
No, absolutely. That was a great
Matt
night.
Holness there as the band leader. And our little backstory for him was that the rest of the band think they should be in a rock band, but he's sort of like, he gets the money and he's in charge.
He
and
demands to sing the songs.
Exactly. And we thought that they'd be more into Slade coming up than he was.
Yeah.
But I'll have some anyway. So I'm sitting there, I'm eating
But the great thing about Jack, who plays Snork, is that he, I think, has got a sort of natural comic quality, but he doesn't approach it like a comedy performer. He's always trying to play the sort of reality of the scenes.
But my favourite comedy performers weren't trying to be funny. They were trying to be real. They were angry or you know, delusional. They weren't clowning. They just weren't clowning. It's all about context.
It sounded funny in my head.
It wasn't Snork.
This is very important, and this is where Emily Watson kicks in. Very proud of this scene.
Yeah.
5 years is a long way off.
This is a tricky scene to shoot because there's so many different angles of different
this,
people looking at
you
different
know,
other people.
I'm so glad
I'd quite like to make
that
a
we got it down to just this pull-in focus where we realise that it's what she's thinking that informs us what the score is really for the rest of Julie's life.
But again, these are the things that you write in a script, and then it's the actors that you have to depend on to bring them to life. And in the case of someone like Emily there, she brings a whole other quality
Yeah.
that you can't.
She lets us realise that Freddie's different to other men. He's chivalrous.
But you can just see a mind working behind her eyes, and that's...
Yeah.
It may seem an obvious thing, but it's a very difficult thing to do.
And
as
then
an
just
actor.
that disappointment. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. And she knows them the men are going to win, and there's nothing she can do to save her daughter, and she's kept this from her all her life, that her dreams are going to be crushed.
This little exchange of looks that she witnesses.
And she sees that as well.
I think it's a magnificent little performance there. I mean, I don't say little, but I mean in terms
know,
of...
it's
she's
amazing.
doing seemingly so little.
Absolutely. Oh, hold on, who's here?
Hang on.
What's going on here?
Someone needed some glamour.
That moustache is quite incredible.
The moustache is good. I'm actually very proud of this brief performance. I think
It's great.
I think I'm quite good. It's the first time where I'm not mugging
I
like
love
a
the way
maniac.
your wife doesn't even look all the way up at you.
Yeah.
It's just... I mean, you know, these people are extras, but we just got great performances out of them.
It's always great. I remember someone came to me with a series of pictures of women and said, choose your wife. If only it were that easy.
So this is where we see the conspiracy. Originally, Freddie didn't hear this, and we were torn, because we put in a cutaway of him witnessing this, so he knew, and we were torn in the sense that, well, if he knows, then is he as good a man? If it's obvious, he's got that information, and of course he's got to share it. And whereas he didn't know, he thinks differently. But we went with him seeing it just so he did have that burden, and he had to do the right thing with it.
Yeah, exactly. Then it becomes, when is he going to use that information? But also, there's something I like about the fact that we've seen this conspiracy through his eyes. You know,
Yeah.
much of his story, well, all of his story is seen through his eyes, whereas when he's not witnessing that moment, we've suddenly stepped away from him to just have a secret moment with these two. And
But
it's
you
somehow
see my
nice.
point between being torn, that obviously us knowing he knows is better dramatically, because it sets a seed and we're waiting for it.
Yeah.
But sometimes that has a knock-on effect of what sort of person he is.
Yes, because, you know, is he just a telltale?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's everything you change has a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
You add to one thing, it can take away from another.
And that's one of the things which it was interesting. We did sort of test screenings, but also just showing it to other people and hearing the way that they interpret scenes differently is always interesting. Like later we'll see the sequence with Bruce in the prison cell, and he's left behind to stew on the various revelations. And someone made the point they thought he was going to hang himself. They thought, oh my goodness me, I think they presumed he was going to hang himself in the prison cell. They thought that was part of the story.
Well, and so someone said that when we kept going to the shots of the factory, because of all the 60s films, they were sure someone going to suffer a terrible injury.
Right, lose a hand.
Exactly,
Or,
yeah. We're going back to the grinding machine. Someone's going to lose an arm.
Right, I think that's watching Casualty too much.
Yeah. There he is. Now he's thinking about stuff here. And so she, maybe. And then this. It's funny because this got a laugh.
Yeah, I suppose we always wanted it to be slightly more dramatic, or at least to have more pathos than it probably does.
Yeah, I think it's got both.
Yeah.
But I think it's got an R and a little bit of a chuckle.
Yeah.
I think it won't get a laugh the second time you watch the film.
Sure.
Again, put in focus there, because it's what she's thinking that drives this film more than any other character in a way.
We wanted to use some of the sort of visual tricks that they used to rely on a lot in the 70s before technology was as sophisticated as it was. So shots like pulling focus, or, you know, the camera being zoomed in on someone and then pulling out very quickly. Just little sort of visual reminders of the sort of the style of those films from that period. Because again, one of the problems I often have with movies set in the past is if they're shot with sort of whiz-bang modern technology, everything I've ever seen that evokes that period is old newsreel footage or old films from that period.
Yeah.
So suddenly it all seems very incongruous.
Yeah.
Even something like King Kong, you know, where you see those amazing vistas of New York in the 1920s, but they're so epic and so glorious that I find it slightly hard to invest, because I've only ever seen grainy news footage from the period.
That is an example of the little nuance where Julie sees her mum dancing with Freddie. So what's going through her head? There's a very sort of wistful look there. She's going, look, mum's happy. So does she deep down know that her mum isn't happy? Is there something that she's always sensed? Or is she saying, that's a nice man that will dance with my mum? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just in a look. Here's a lovely little performance from both of these guys.
Us tonight, a little mentally handicapped kid. Don't know if you saw him. He's the guy over there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he looks happy.
He's not happy at all, mate. He's not only got...
Yeah, Matt Holness is the band leader there, and someone we would always work with again and again. He's just got, again, an amazing comic instinct.
Blessed as well.
Great face.
Yeah. Great physique.
Big fan of music. Really likes you guys. Thinks you're fantastic.
Right, yep.
Quite like to sing a song with you, if you don't mind. Maybe some Slade or something.
Although, of course, it's not actually him singing.
No, he was worried about singing, wasn't he? But we got someone that, to me, that's how Matt Holness was sing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Thank you.
She's sort of oppressed that she doesn't even know if she should be dancing.
But it's interesting because I've been in situations, even now, where there are still middle-aged women living life like this. I've actually witnessed it myself.
Well, of course.
And I was amazed that that sort of stuff, still goes on. But it does. A lot of attitudes and things haven't changed as dramatically as people think they have, particularly when, again, you get out of sort of fashionable, liberal media London.
Coming up, the two huge sort of faux pas of the film. We had one every couple of minutes in the office and extras. And we left that sort of veil of irony behind, that sort of excruciating faux pas. But we do one here, but it's a big one. We like this as well because Bruce is proud of his mate here.
It's one of those things about gangs when you're young, is that you can take the mick out of your friends as much as you like.
Yeah.
But in the end, there's a real warmth and a history that allows you to do that. And if someone else does it, that's not part of the gang, you turn on them.
But he's my little retard.
Absolutely.
It sums it up. Also, I know that if people shout to you, you fucking goggle-eyed freak, you lanky, twatish, fucking four-eyed moron, you go, hold on. Ricky Gervais can say that to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he has done many times. Poor Jack had to have that tattoo on his chest all the time.
Yeah.
Well, not all the time. I'm presuming he doesn't have it on when his shirt's closed. I don't know what point I was making there. Poor Jack had to have that tattoo whenever it was seen.
He did have to shave his chest.
He had to shave his chest.
And his back, which he didn't enjoy much. But he was very nervous about this, but then said it was an amazing moment for him. He was worried about doing it in front of all these people, including Ray Fiennes. And there it is. Oh, he was doing so well.
I think this was the day that my parents came to visit, so all they saw when they were watching it on the monitors with the headphones on was the C word being repeated again and again and again from different angles.
That's right.
Oh, come on, Freddie. It's not our fault if they haven't got a sense of humour.
They have got a sense of humour. They're like classy.
Apparently your mum says it all the time now.
Oh, she is filthy mouthed.
And your dad says, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
My boss is out there. I don't want it back in a factory.
Like me?
Yes, like you.
This is when they confront each other and some home truths. And nothing hurts more than the closest people to you saying something that they've always thought and you never knew it. Even though it's done almost parentally. It's done, for your own good. There's nothing as devastating as disappointing someone you admire or love, or... Do you know what I mean?
And also the way that once those things are said, they can never be taken back.
You can never take them back. You've got to take them on the chin, or get on with it.
If you said you were coming with me, I'd be gone in a second.
Yeah, but I'm not.
I think originally there were shots of Snork kind of listening to this conversation like a child
seeing mummy and daddy arguing. Exactly.
But we felt it just sort of was a little too comic.
Well, every time it's difficult when you set up a comedy character like Snork or Gareth or Darren Lamb. It's difficult to ever not find them funny.
Yeah.
And that's often why we sort of let their stories unresolved in the office. Everyone else had a dramatic, a climax, but we couldn't do it with Gareth. Darren Lamb had to undercut the sort of drama in the end of Extras.
It's very hard to make a very broad comic character suddenly feel real and human that you care for.
Too loud?
Yeah. It's also the second time one of you's used that word tonight, so this time you boys went.
What was the first time?
That was the reason Noddy had a bell on his hand.
I love it when he laughs. I love it that he hears it again and still laughs.
Yeah.
Just like I do when I hear something funny twice. But this is a lovely moment when Bruce says, now you've got an anecdote.
Again, paternal, brotherly love.
Well, he's making him feel good about himself. He's going, don't worry about them. You did all right.
Yeah. I know what's going on, right?
Yeah, I wasn't so much talking to you as the people that are listening
Sure, but
to this.
because you were looking at me, I thought you thought I didn't understand the film.
No, I know you.
There are parts I don't understand.
I know you get most of it.
Yeah.
But there's some
I get
people
about 60%.
Yeah, but there's some people listening to this that really don't understand.
What's going on here? He's just having a pint, is he?
Yeah. I don't know why we shot that. That was after filming. That was just Tom there having a Guinness after filming. Okay, you staying in that gear? He goes, yeah, I might as well.
Oh, I should just point out that the little voice you hear of Richard Nixon on the TV is done by the impressionist Alistair McGowan.
Yeah.
He does a number of the sort of voices you hear on the TVs and on the radios in this film.
Later on in the film, though, we actually got the real Richard Nixon to do David Beckham. So, swings and roundabouts.
Why do they call you?
And this is sweet, obviously, because this is the one person he doesn't want to lie to about how he got the name. He thinks that she deserves more.
Oh, is that what's going on?
Yeah.
I thought it was just about a man eating sausages.
No, remember that's my home DVD. that is just about a man eating sausages.
Yeah.
I'm going to enter that for a short film award. It's just me eating sausages, and let's see what people can read into that. Oh, I've never seen a short film that was short enough, Steve. Discuss.
Short films?
Yeah.
I do think that's the way to win an Oscar, though.
Yeah. Add that to the list. Holocaust, Mentors, short films. Biopic's another way, isn't it?
The biopic, yeah. Who would you be the obvious bit of casting for?
What, for me?
If you were doing a biopic. Don't mean someone playing you, I mean who would you play comfortably?
Comfortably?
Who would you be good casting for?
Jack Smethurst.
Do people remember who Jack Smethurst is?
It was the bloke who was in Love Thy Neighbour.
You do look like him, though.
Yeah, bit of Reg Varney. I was offered, one of the first films I was offered was a biopic for Jockey Wilson.
The dart player.
Yeah.
I'd like to compliment Tim, our composer, at this point. The music, all the way through the film, aside from the famous songs, is all done by this guy Tim. And obviously his brief was to sort of have music that would meld with the other songs that are included in the film.
Exactly.
That sound very much of its period.
Yeah.
So it was all real instruments, obviously.
Yeah.
Kind of a rock thread to it. Recorded at Abbey Road Studios, in the studio where the Beatles recorded, using a lot of the old amps and mixing desks.
I think Charlie Drake recorded there as well. I think he did My Boomerang Won't Come Back. He's on the wall. Yeah, oh, who's this fella here?
Well, he had I was just to say that, but Tim had a tall order in this whole sequence because he had to compose a piece that sort of binds this whole segment together and that starts small, if you like, and builds until the final moment where Freddie gets to the factory.
And that was very late in the day. This was one of the last edits, the last things we tried to make the moment when he goes into the factory both huge and credible.
Indeed, but also it couldn't be so big that it would undermine the ending of the movie. So it had to sort of feel like an important moment, but it couldn't be the end of the film. It couldn't feel like it was too conclusive. But a lot of the success of this sequence, which I think is very good, is down to Tim's music.
And this is all about how attitudes can stifle ambition.
And again, you know, if you step beyond the realms of metropolitan London, you do find a lot of these attitudes still exist.
One article said that they didn't understand why we had to put in homophobic attitudes just because it was 1973. They were going, I know it's 1973, but people watching that now, it's in 2010.
Because there's no Arabs running round today, I'll tell you that. They're not chasing anything. They're getting their butlers to do it with the money they got. They reckon they're so rich, the Arabs, right? They just live in tents, right? But it's full of food all the time. They eat food just for the sake of it. They've got so much money.
Hello, Mrs. Wearing, all right? I just wanted to say that thanks to customers...
Now this. Now this had to be the sort of final nail in the coffin. He's already worried about it. Is he in the wrong business? He was worried about Matthew Goode. He was both impressed with Matthew Goode bamboozling them into, taking out their pension, but there was something in him that thought, is this right? And now it's sort of come back and haunted him.
And again, what's great about this performance from this actress is that she has to start off initially when you first see them being sold insurance as almost seeming slightly putsy, slightly gullible, like they almost like comic light relief.
Yeah.
But then she has to be able to sort of switch and become
I'm
very
sure most people watched this film and thought that we were meant to be applauding Matthew Goode prowess as a seller and screw these. Well, screw the holiday. I think people were probably behind that, but then they realised that everything has a knock-on effect. All those little things do affect lives. And now he's thinking about everything else as well. And he's realised now he is at the crossroads here. Everything that's happened. Does he do something about it? Or just, amble along?
And again, these, in the bigger scheme of things, these are small moments in someone's life.
Of course they are.
But they're huge. They're huge to that person.
Yeah, well, film makes them huge. But,
Right.
I mean, yeah, but when you really do go in there and decide when are we leaving, there's not an orchestra playing,
But what was exciting to us about the whole of this film is that the moments, the decisions everyone makes, compared with other great big movie epics, seem very slight. Whole armies aren't being massacred because of the decisions made. But for these people and for thousands of people watching, these are the experiences you have all the time.
Of course. And I am very excited about doing these and trying to do it as best we can. I think as an artist, you've got to try and make people as excited about the things you're talking about as you are. Otherwise, what's the point, really?
I would never describe you as an artist.
Well, you shouldn't. I used to be scared of that because it sounds sort of pretentious.
Yeah.
But then what else are we? What else are we?
Fat bloke and a lanky bloke.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah. It is dangerous to call yourself an artist in certain circles. But I don't know.
What is art, Rick?
Don't
answer that seriously.
Did it? That was the question that I was asked when I went along to do philosophy. I went to
university.
I went to university to do biology. I changed after a couple of weeks. Went along to philosophy because I was in a room with some people and I said, say a letter of the alphabet, and they said P. I went, right, philosophy. I went along and I said, this is true. I said, I want an interview, and the bloke sat me down and said, what is art?
What was your answer?
I can't remember. I just waffled on, and he went, okay.
We need extra people to fill out this course.
Yeah.
You're in.
And I said an answer, and he said, okay, so Andy Warhol, he paints a bean tin, a virgin bean tin. Thoughts? And I remember, I don't know, well, I just went, beans.
Yeah, we're just instantly thinking about lunch. The nightclub sequence was a lot of fun to do, and also we wanted the club to seem slightly dreamlike, slightly otherworldly. That my memory of going to clubs when I was young was that they always seemed awfully glamorous and exotic and very adult. And I'm sure if I go back there now, it was just full of Nuki Brown and sodden carpets. But at the time, it seemed very glamorous.
Well, again, but everything we do is slightly heightened.
Yeah.
There's no point in just doing, a gritty documentary of the time. That's not what you're doing. You might as well watch a real gritty documentary from the time. So this has to be sort of symbolic and aspirational, and they're sort of showing Julie another world that she maybe hasn't seen.
Yep. I had tremendous fun doing this sequence. I like, I don't know, I've always liked the idea of music and dancing and putting them together to make a musical dance sequence in a film. and here's a chance to do it for us.
Brilliant insight there. There's a lovely, well, I talk about nuance and little things. He looks down there at her hand, just in character, just thinks, she's got a hand on my shoulder.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop him talking, but something registers with him.
Absolutely.
It's a very huge moment that you might miss, but I think you take it in subliminally, and you might watch it, the 10th time. Tom had to learn this very quickly, this dance sequence.
And we were lucky we had the Steadicam out that day, which was great fun. And we want this whole sequence to sort of be joyous. It's the fun before the storm.
Yeah.
Of the final act.
Also, the 3 times Tom gets into trouble, he sort of does it for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
He's defending Snork. He's hitting a racist. He's sticking up for his mates with a nasty copper. It's almost like his heart's in the right place, but he's going about it the wrong way.
I'd like to pay compliment to our editor Valerio at this point as well, because I thought he did a great job here.
He's an artist.
He is, and he does a great job.
Why is he an artist and not me then?
Because he's Italian.
Oh yeah. I made a little song about him, didn't I?
I don't remember.
I used to sing, Valerio. Although he's not from here, Valerio, he's speaking the English clear.
Oh, yeah.
You love that, didn't you?
No, I'd blank that out, but nice to hear it again. 400th time.
Also, all the night sequences here shot in the day. You don't want to be hanging around till 10 o'clock. Shoot them at 3:30. Shoot them at 3:30. I think I proved my point.
I think they actually give a slight feel to the movie that puts me in mind again of movies from the past.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
Yeah, but particularly films in the 50s, of course, which often shot day for night.
That's 4:45. That's 4:45 in Hampstead. It is.
Amazing. Tricks of the trade.
You couldn't tell, could you? You could not tell that wasn't Light from the House and Moonlight.
I don't think you can.
And we were home at 6.
Yeah.
Well, bye then.
Bye.
We should develop those pictures.
Love this sequence.
You a fan of this?
Yeah, great. Really great.
Again, there's something very nice about trying to do this moment through looks and touches and proximity. We kind of like I suppose in a way it's a substitute for an obvious sort of love-making scene that you do in another film.
What happens if you're crazy?
You get into big trouble.
I like this because I think it says more.
Yes.
And I remember watching a film, Phenomenon, with John Travolta, and they substituted a love-making scene with him having a shave. And
the girl cuts his hair
was just
and
amazing.
shaves him, yeah.
It was so much sweeter.
Yes.
Why are we whispering? Is it so we don't get caught in here?
No.
No. Why would you be scared of that? We're just two friends developing film together.
But again, Raimi does a great job here, just with obviously the simplicity of the red bulb.
Did I tell you I was leaving tomorrow?
Yeah.
Good. Good, I just wanted to make sure.
No, they're wearing red and they've got red
Makeup on?
Yeah, like Avatar.
Oh, I wondered how he did it.
No, that's not. They're
That's very clever.
Yeah. It's just better than a red light.
Although perversely, shot at 4 a.m.
Now you made me want to go. You told me not to waste my life.
And they come out the door and they've cleaned up.
Sure.
It's just like your dad, and you're going to end up just like your mum.
He takes a chance here. Everything's going well, and he blows it.
But we really tried to push a lot of things when we came to the grade after the movies. Try and make those blues, the blue of that wallpaper, the blue of his shirt, really pop out of the screen again. Because there's something again. There's a couple of reasons. One is I think it's very much of its time in the 70s, but also again because I think it puts you in mind subconsciously of films from the sort of golden age of Hollywood. You know, films like Rebel Without a Cause, when they first started using Technicolor, they were the colours were very bold and vivid, and it's something which seems to have you don't see so much now in movies because everyone wants everything to feel incredibly natural, incredibly real, because cameras are so good now at replicating reality that some of that artifice has gone, and that can sometimes be really charming.
Oh, for God's sake. I have to come with you because you think you might be in love with me.
They play this really well, I think.
Hmm.
Hello, Freddie. Didn't hear you come in.
This was a whole sequence in the film we were always looking forward to shooting, I think, weren't we? Because we're big fans of, again, how the mother steps back into the story at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just wanted my advice.
Well, it's a bit late to be talking about cameras.
It is. I'm sorry.
That's about 10 in the morning. You wouldn't know, would you, looking out?
Yeah, no, it's...
I'm probably proudest of that, aren't I? That we didn't do any night.
It's not something that...
Yeah, Scorsese going, I was home at 6. Do you like that film? Yeah. Do you like it? Yeah. Well, I was home at 6.
Yeah, so screw you.
5:15, that was. 12:15. That's 12:15. Just the last one before lunch, this. I had chicken and mash that day. I can get the screenplay down to two of my favourite lines, and 1964 is one of them. Every time we said it, even in the read through, I welled up.
I'm sorry.
Good night.
Night.
But again, you know, Emily just underplays it, knows exactly what she's doing. That's what's amazing working with people like Rafe and Emily, is that the younger actors have got an amazing energy and they approach things very differently. But that when you work with very seasoned actors, there is something else that they bring to it. There's a precision. It's the only word I can think of. There's a precision to what they do that's really effective, and particularly in screen acting, where they're very aware that they're going to be on a big screen. Every little move of the eye, the flare of the nostrils registers.
Well, my other favourite line isn't actually a spoken line. It was when we said, "Hands his father a beer," and I knew that I was looking forward to that.
Sure.
More than anything in the film, probably. When he walks back at the end.
I think this is the only sequence, certainly the only major sequence that we used the handheld camera. We just wanted just that little.
Now I've got to explain something
being
here.
Unsettled.
As I say, Tom, absolute trooper. Anything we threw at him, he did. But I've never seen such a shocked look as in the rehearsal when Steve Spears, who is a rugby player and a wrecking ball, picked him up and threw him against the wall, and it shuddered, and Tom looked visibly shocked. And I said, "Are you all right?" He went, "Yeah, maybe just save it for the day, though."
Yeah. But I think he may have even said to me afterwards, though, but what that did was really put that in his mind, the sheer force of that.
Honestly.
Give him a copy of first, all right? Your old man, he was in here every other week. Oh, yes. He was a right handful.
I'd like to swing him on a crane and see if we could knock down a building with him. Do you think he'd be up for that?
I reckon he would, actually.
Imagine that coming at you on a rugby pitch.
Oh, I know, it's terrifying.
Forget it.
Listen, on the night that your man...
It's one of the reasons I stopped playing rugby. I was just intimidating people too much. It wasn't fun for me.
Yeah. I tell you, we had to play rugby at school, and you've never seen anyone get rid of the ball so quickly. It just passed through my hands.
Yeah.
Otherwise he wouldn't be responsible for his actions.
very noble. Chickened out at the last minute.
I remember the first day I was going out to play rugby. I never played it before. I was at school, and as I was leaving the house, my mother said, "Now be very careful because a kid at my school had his neck broke the first day he did rugby."
Oh God! Oh. Did you wear glasses when you played rugby?
No. It's one of the reasons I don't play for England.
Well, what? Could you not see properly?
Of course I couldn't. It was a nightmare. I think the second time I played rugby, someone fell on my thumb, snapped it back. I couldn't play for months, which was fine with me. The thumb mended, went back out on the field again, like being forced back out there against my will. Someone did exactly the same thing to exactly the same thumb. I was off again for 2 months.
But you got ridiculous. They're like fronds. You got hands fronds. They're like you got hands like tentacles. They're just all over the place, aren't they? Mental.
All right, ladies.
Oh, why didn't you play basketball?
I did play basketball, but again, the glasses.
But they wear...
But you throw the ball at the floor, it bounces back and can snap them.
Yeah.
If it hits you in the face. Also, I had no hand-to-eye coordination.
That's a little homage to David Bowie's Heroes. I know this song isn't from that, but we thought that was a bit Bowie-esque, that shot of him in the cell. Call back to the beginning. Nice sort of like palindromic.
And our memory of that period is just there was always some kid, some neighbourhood kid doing something destructive or pointless nearby.
Yeah, I remember my estate, there was like one sort of place which had no fence slats left, nothing at all. Kids without shoes, big boat in the front.
Did you get much use?
They must have won it on Bullseye.
Yeah. This is, of course, the David Bowie version of All the Young Dudes. Mott the Hoople providing the music, but Bowie singing the lyrics. Of course, it was a song he wrote.
That's Woodstock, beautiful little idyllic village in Oxfordshire.
It was very kind of touching, that little exchange between you and your son in this moment.
Yeah. Undercut, of course, though.
Always.
His dad, like, trying to not cry like the women, but he's upset. And then she brings him down to earth.
Not really, earns more than you do. Fancy a son earning more than his father is.
And just left on the mother. I love this, the way he sort of hovers outside. You can just see his little hat and he's not sure.
There's a lovely sequence on the deleted scenes of just some of the dialogue that we had before this sequence with Brian.
Oh, just
there's a whole little scenes we just had to tighten it up, but there's a whole bit of Brian instructing her on how to clean an egg stain from one of the tables.
Yeah.
Can I have 5 minutes outside, Brian?
Is he going to do you? You want any...
So happy with himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
Now give you time for a cigarette.
I think they play this very nicely.
Okay, so
Sweet and innocent.
I'm leaving today, so it doesn't make any difference. But I wanted to ask you, do you like me?
Yeah.
Really?
Reminds me a little bit of what we did with David Brent's Date. Just to show that when you're yourself, there's someone out there that likes you for who you are. You just have to find them.
You know, it's interesting, though, because I always remember people saying, you know, when I was younger, you know, if you want to meet a girl, just be yourself. But I've come to the conclusion that's nonsense. I'm far more successful if I'm never myself.
No, but only no. There should be a caveat. Always be yourself unless you're Steve Merchant.
Sure, right.
Is the phrase? It's the phrase that went around my school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So is that you looking up?
Yeah.
Are you going to go and give her one?
Because if you instantly come in and show someone, you know, your vast collection of, you know, of
congenital illnesses,
yeah, or obscure
medical
Scandinavian pornography.
And so, working up to, I think what was always my favourite moment, as I say, from the screenplay to the final edit, I was very, very excited about.
That shot of him crossing the street?
No, Bruce walking into his dad. I mean, Bruce's story was almost secondary in many ways, but I think just as important as the love story or the general themes. You know, and I think people go and stay for the right and wrong reasons, but here we try to have people doing both for the right reasons.
Well, that's good.
Another glorious day in Loughborough.
Yep, another great performance from both of these. Again, Jack, you know, not playing it for obvious laughs, but sort of playing the reality of the moment.
Yeah.
When? Like, what, in a year? I don't know, maybe.
It's very easy when you're doing comedy to sort of think about how you can make it funny. What's the funniest way I can say the line, or what can I do with my eyebrows to make it funny? Or make it comic in some way.
I like Freddie because he's much more at one with the world. He sort of guides people through things that they're not comfortable with.
Right.
Like men having, you know, come to terms with their emotions, but he's cool with it.
Yeah.
And this is it. This is my favourite moment. When he touches his arm.
This was a sequence, even when we were filming it on the set at Shepperton, a lot of people on the set, grizzled studio, you know, hands were choking up.
It's fundamental.
Tearing up. But that's why I don't think it can ever not be a legitimate subject.
No.
You know, the relationships you have with your family, there's 1,000 people with the same problems, but it's huge. It defines who you are and how your life
But
is.
he still can't quite say it. That's as good as he can. That's as good as he can do, and it never needs to be said.
Yeah.
And that's all the dad ever wanted, really. Little things like Freddie's bag there. I like to think that was his dad's naval duffel.
Sure.
Thing, because I've got 2 anchors on my forearms.
Yep.
And we like to think that he was in the Navy. And it's also a good rhyming slang for anyone who wants to write a little song about me.
And here, of course, is where we've eased in Led Zeppelin's The Rain song.
You think it's Score, if you're not familiar with the song.
It's such an epic piece of work. The music, I mean. Not that putting down of the tea. Again, we just love those simple moments. You know, we've tried to do it in all of the things we've done, is that minor little gestures, little incidents in life have huge ramifications.
Yeah.
You don't endlessly have to have screaming matches or shoot people to add a bit of drama.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
Bye, Mike.
That goodbye could have been a goodbye forever. You blew it.
Again, Mr. Kendrick's very kind of aspirational kitchen that could have stepped out of the pages of one of those Sunday supplements.
And now is the mum. She's going to try a little bit of reverse psychology.
It'll be fine.
What'll be fine?
Whatever you decide to do.
I like the theme of always being a mum. However old you are, however your daughter is, you're always a mum.
Yeah.
I like that.
Your father doesn't like dancing. I'm sure he'll give you everything you need to be a good wife.
We went quite Hollywood. We again, we don't apologise for having a glorious, happy ending.
Not at all, no. I think we've always been quite sentimental. It's interesting when people, they refer to The Office or something as being this sort of anti-Hollywood or being alternative Hollywood. No, it's a Hollywood story or a story tell it's a Hollywood ending done in a different way, in a more subtle way. But we've always been a fan of that.
But you can't, as I said, you can't win. So you just mustn't worry about it. You've just got to do what you want to do.
Within the limits of the law. If I could say that right, just make sure that's clear. Always obey the rules of the land.
And he'd like to remind you that you are a massive bender.
Unless they're wrong.
Well, of course, absolutely right, yeah.
So, yeah, there he is. And now he's going back to get on with the rest of his life with his dad. He's got a lot of catching up to do. See, here we were torn as well, because now you know she's on her way. There's no drama that she's going to turn up, so we had to get a bit of drama that maybe it's just the realisation from his point of view. There's an exciting moment. And then when Led Zeppelin kicks in.
Yeah. That was a real thrill when they gave us permission.
Oh,
so excited.
Man. Have we got the footage of her falling over?
Yes, of course, she fell as we were doing this sequence.
Cut her knees.
And it looked like she was going to slip under the train. And
they
Christian
were running pretty fast to get that train.
Yeah. And Christian had to sort of pull her away. He sort of saved her
yeah,
from falling under
because the door was coming, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The door, yeah.
And this is, you know, in its own way, a little homage to The Apartment,
to the
which
apartment
we referenced earlier.
That didn't end with a kiss, but ended with a smart remark to show they were soulmates.
I think this was something that the actors decided to do, that they weren't going to look at each other during the dialogue and just turn themselves to each other at the end.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And that means more.
Yeah.
That means more. I also like the fact that we sort of undercut deconstructed Hollywood endings where you didn't have to run for the train because there's another one.
Of course. Well, that's always true, isn't it? Particularly in the modern world.
Yeah.
And
there's no rush. There's no rush.
Of course,
no, we're going tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'll just give you a call on the mobile.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's our film, Cemetery Junction.
There it is. Off the train goes. Who knows where?
Don't know.
Well, we do know. Probably it's going to go through Didcot Parkway.
Paddington. Go to Paddington. You can get a cab or you can get a bus. Probably go to best way Dover then, wouldn't it?
Do you remember there was an early, I think we even filmed it, but there was a sequence when they're in the bedroom talking about the cousin who'd gone away.
Yeah.
But talking about the intricacies of how she'd gone. So she got a train there, went there, got on a boat in Dover. And we realised that really isn't important. The mechanics of how you leave England are not important.
I know. Well, that's our film. We hope you enjoyed it. I think that you probably did enjoy it if you're listening to this director's commentary, or you're really sad, or you're someone trying to find someone to stitch us up, which is always...
Don't worry about that.
No.
I wonder if my mum's listening to this.
You worried about saying that she's got a dirty mouth, or...
No.
Or the things that you're saying about rude things you've said on this?
No, I just thought I'd just give her a quick shout out. Hey, Mum. Just you know, a little sweet, innit? You know, sometimes you forget to say hello to Mum.
Yeah, well, let's give everyone a shout out then.
Well, who are you thinking?
Everyone who's listening. Just done in one.
Big shout out to everyone who's listening.
Yeah.
Coming up now, Traffic with Bob.
Oh dear.
We're done now, aren't we? We don't need to stay for the credits, do we? No one stays for the credits.
Well, I wanted to leave on the cast and crew screening, but you said it was rude to walk out during credits.
Of course it is.
Because we were still sitting there. But I was thinking they were probably thinking, is it rude to leave during the credits?
Everyone wants to see their names, but...
Well, Ron Tootle wasn't even there, was he?
I'm not sure. Not sure whether...
Phil Bateman, I don't know if he was...
Can't remember if he was at the screening.
Joel Clark, Matthew Harvey.
Yeah, good guys both. Thanks for coming to the commentary, Rick. Appreciate your attendance.
No worries.
Lovely to talk to you.
Should we do another film or not?
Yeah, not together though.
I don't want to do it because I don't want to have to do all the junkets again and beg people to go and see it. I'm not bothered if people see it or not, but when someone gives you millions of pounds, you feel that you're obliged to. Whereas if we just do, like, I don't know, TV or stand-up, it's just, you know, people watch it or people come to the shows. I don't have to do anything for them.
Sure. What are you living for now? What is it? You've sort of done everything. You've climbed, some would say, the showbiz mountain.
Yeah.
You've reached the top.
Do you know what I want to do? I want to slide down on a little tray.
Is that a metaphor?
No.
You would actually like to slide down
yeah, exactly,
on a little tray.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
There's nothing in it for us now, though, because they've already bought the DVD. They've seen the film. They've bought the DVD. There's nothing in this for us.
We could slag them off.
We don't need to slag them off. If someone's watching the director's commentary on this film, they're losers. There's no need to slag them off.
Fair enough.
Yeah?
Yeah. So who knows?
Unless we'll have someone else for them to buy soon, though.
If they waited right here until the Columbia Pictures logo, I mean, man alive.
Well, I don't know who's waiting to see that. Maybe Columbia Pictures. Who could I say were a joy to work with? Love to do another film with you, lads.